Hey YouTube, welcome back. Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Today's video is going to be a really informative video, so hopefully you can stay tuned throughout the whole thing and learn something along the way. First things first, we got some LEOPAZZO t-shirts. Go ahead and order yours right now. This video is going to be about the 240 gallon reef tank, and specifically we're going to be looking at the sump filtration build. I definitely recommend that you watch part 1 of the 240 gallon sump filtration build, as in this video we will be looking after the sump filtration as it's already built and silicone is dried and cured. So what I have done here is I've placed the sump outside here and I've placed inside a submergible return pump and plumbed it up just to roughly test out the sump filtration system and see how it filters, and to better explain this overall. So what I've done here is plumbed it up with a submergible pump into this 10 gallon rimless tank here that I drilled out a 1-inch drain, and we got a 1-inch return. You can see that the PVC plumbing, the hard plumbing, is the drain that goes into that first chamber, and then from there it filters through into the return pump. So what I've done here is I'm going to draw this out for you on black and white so you guys can hopefully understand a little bit better. So what I'm going to be drawing here is my sump filtration system. I'm going to divide it up into 4 baffles, into 4 chambers. Chamber 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here is our 4-chamber sump filtration system. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 4 is going to be our submergible return pump. Number 3 is going to be our protein skimmer times 2, as my client wants to run 2 skimmers. Number 2 is going to be our refugium, and number 1 is going to hold our rubble live rock, which is going to be our drain. Right now I'm drawing our water level that's going to be in each chamber, as it's a little bit higher on the left and slowly starts to get lower on the right. You can see here that I've marked the drain on number 1, and right now I'm drawing our return pump that's going to be pushing water into our main display tank. Right now I'm going to be drawing 1 skimmer instead of trying to squeeze in 2 drawings right now. This is my 1 protein skimmer that's going to be sitting in this number 3 chamber. Again, you want to build your sump according to your protein skimmer, to the depth of operating level to your protein skimmer, as you will find that in your owner's manual of your protein skimmer. In this case, it is approximately 9 to 10 inches of depth of water, so therefore that's why I made that protein skimmer chamber that depth of approximately 9 inches to 10 inches. In chamber number 2, we're going to have the chaeto algae with a little bit of sand there with our refugium. And chamber number 1 is going to be our drain with some rubble live rock. So there you have it, is our 4-chamber sump filtration system. Before I continue, I wanted to show you guys and explain to you the water flow direction. So which way the water enters the sump and which way it travels and exits the sump, which is going to be done in this blue pen right here. So again, coming from your main display tank drain, it's going to come down this first chamber going through the live rock. It's going to go into the chaeto refugium chamber and then into your skimmer chamber as well. Once it's done with your skimmer, it's going to go through this bubble trap here with these 3 glass baffles, and then from there enter your submergible return pump and then back inside your tank. Another thing I wanted to just point out again is the water level in each chamber, as it's higher on the left and slowly lowers towards the right hand side on a return pump. Another very important piece of equipment I wanted to mention since we're here is the auto top off, the ATO. The auto top off will be placed in the number 4 chamber in our sump filtration system, which this is the chamber that the water will fluctuate. Not in our main display tank, but in our sump in the number 4 chamber where our return pump is. Well, you might be asking yourself, where can we place some filter floss to collect some debris that filters through the sump filtration? Well, and in this sump design, we actually have 4 locations of where we can place the filter floss. On each chamber on the glass baffles, and I'll show you that right now, how to do that. So how to install the filter floss, which is pretty easy. What you want to do is just rip yourself off a piece of filter floss, maybe 6 to 8 inches give or take, and you just want to overlap it on the glass baffle, approximately 3 inches or so on each side, and just attach it with a little plastic clip with no metal, just so it clips onto the glass and it doesn't move around in your sump. And again, you can do it the same way here on your bubble trap towards the end of your sump filtration, you can actually add 2 of them on the either end. So you can pick and choose what works best for you. To me, I just usually use 2 in my sump filtration, but you can use as many as you like. Okay, now that we covered the sump design, hopefully you guys understand a little bit better, and we're back in action here and we're getting ready to test this sump filtration out. And we're going to watch the water fill up in our main display tank here in our 10-gallon as our model display tank just temporarily, which is plumbed up to this sump filtration system that we just built. The water is going to be draining into our drain, and then from there going through each baffle into our final baffle, which is our return pump chamber, and then from there it's going to be pushing the water back into our main display tank, and we will have a constant cycling filtration system. So just a closer look here at the return line and the drain. The black one is a return line coming from the pump, you can see in the tank, and the white one with the 90 on it is our PVC 1-inch, which is our drain going into our first chamber. Another thing I wanted to point out is that 90 1-inch PVC, by turning that to whatever angle, will adjust the water level in our main display tank. So now you will notice as I fill up the main display tank, the water will be draining into the sump via our drain. So now that we know that the water is draining from our main display tank into our drain chamber in our sump filtration system, I'm just going to fill up the sump filtration system directly from the sump on the first chamber, from our drain chamber. So what you want to do as a sump filtration water test is, as you're filling up one chamber, you want to look at the next following chamber and seeing if any water enters that chamber where it's not supposed to. It has to be forced up via that glass baffle and up and over, not underneath where you siliconed. So if you notice any water going through your silicone job, I would recommend emptying the sump, drying it out, and re-siliconing it properly. As we are waiting patiently here for our sump filtration system to fill up with water, as it is currently in chamber number 2 in our refugium, it is still have to enter our skimmer chamber as well as our return pump chamber before it enters the main display tank. As I mentioned earlier, by turning this 90-degree elbow for the drain, it will adjust our water level in our main display tank. As we raise it, the water level will raise, and as we lower it, the water level in our main display tank will lower as well. So it looks like we're about ready for the water to overflow this glass chamber into our skimmer chamber. You can see that the skimmer chamber is really big and it will house 2 skimmers, as we already calculated for 2 skimmers to fit inside this chamber, and as well calculated the optimal depth of water level that the skimmer is recommended to run in for best performance. Let's have a closer look at this bubble trap here, these 3 glass baffles, as the water has to travel up, down under, and up over to get into the sump filtration return pump. So it looks like we're ready for the water from our skimmer chamber to overflow into our return pump chamber. And this is where we would install our filter floss. Just overlap it here on this glass baffle, and you can definitely see how the water would have to be forced through the filter floss and then through these chambers to get to the return pump. And you would just fasten that filter floss on there with a piece of plastic clip that you can possibly find at the dollar store, or any kind of clip fastener that you can find that doesn't have any metal in it, as you don't want any metal in your saltwater fish tank. Well guys, it looks like our sump filtration system is at optimal running level, which is approximately halfway point, which is just over the skimmer chambers here. So right now our return pump is pumping water into our main display tank, as I have it plugged in here, and it's pushing water into our main display tank. So let's have a closer look at that. So again, we have our submergible return pump plugged in, and it has power, and it is pumping water from our sump filtration system all the way over into our main display tank here. And you can see that the water is pushing out quite nicely. The pump is doing a good job, and you can see that the white PVC pipe is draining the water as well. And you can see the way that I have the return pump, the way it's angled there, that black piece, it is making quite a bit of ripples inside the top surface of the water of the aquarium, which I definitely like and recommend on any aquarium. You definitely need to have some water movement, especially along the top surface of your water. And just as I mentioned earlier, by adjusting the angle of this drain, of this 90-degree PVC pipe here, you will adjust the water level in our main display tank. Well guys, that looks like a wrap for today's video. Thanks very much for watching. I definitely hope that you guys learned something along the way, and go ahead and subscribe guys if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel. There's going to be definitely more videos like this that's going to teach you guys a few things here and there about the aquarium hobby. Go ahead and order your shirts right now to support the channel, LEOPAZZO T-shirts. Thanks guys very much for tuning in. I'm sorry about the video being a little bit long. Leave any questions and comments you guys have. Go ahead and share on any of your social media networks guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. LEOPAZZO, you know what it is. Till next time.